What's up, YouTube? It's Oz again. Hope you guys are having a good week. Just wanted to pop in and make an update. I know I haven't made a video in a minute, but you know, I just haven't been inspired to, and there's not a whole lot to talk about unless I make some more van series videos. But I wanted to make an update today. So I'm up in Minnesota right now, which is unusual. Had a drop this morning, 6 a.m. It's about 8 now. And so I took a week off, and I ended up having some health issues and had to take an additional week off. So I thought I had appendicitis. At first I thought it was a pulled muscle. And in Texas we don't get snow, we get ice. So we had this ice storm. And so that first night I just thought I had pulled a muscle, and I was supposed to pick up a load, headed back out. Well, I went to pick that up and it had been canceled. Made my way back to the yard. Woke up next morning, my stomach still feels like it's got a knife sticking in it. And so at that point I started getting a little bit more concerned, and I had another pickup that I was just going to go ahead because I still was thinking I probably pulled a muscle, and that load ended up, the place was closed because of the ice, so I couldn't pick it up. Then I got back and I had a real hard time sleeping, and I started thinking I had appendicitis, and I was like, well, I'm gonna call him tomorrow. I'm gonna take one day and make a decision of what I'm gonna do. So I took one more day. I got paid for the previous 2 days. So I called him and told him I was going to take a day. Told him what was going on, and the next day decided to go into the emergency room. So I go in there. First I went to a little, one of those little, what do they call them? Whatever. Emergency care clinic thing. So I go in there, and they tell me, yeah, it's probably appendicitis. And the doctor, guy who was looking at me, he did a couple of just tests pushing on me and stuff, and was like, look, I'm required to tell you that you should stay here, but if you watch my face, and he said, if you were to decide that you wanted to just go to the emergency room, I would recommend that you not do that. So basically he was telling me, look, we're going to diagnose you, it's going to be appendicitis, then we're going to put you in an ambulance and ship you there anyway, and it's going to cost you a bunch of extra money. So they didn't charge me anything. I walked out of there, went to the emergency room, and in the emergency room they did CAT scan, a bunch of stuff, and blood work, and they told me it was not appendicitis. It was something called epiploic appendicitis that mimics appendicitis, like as far as the pain is concerned, where it hurts. Because I wasn't experiencing, that's what had me thinking it was a pulled muscle. I wasn't experiencing like nausea and vomiting or any of that other kind of stuff that's associated with appendicitis. So anyway, they ended up putting me on antibiotics. I sat in a hotel room for a few more days, rode out the weekend, and was feeling a little better, and came back out on that Monday. That was like a week and a half ago. So despite all of that happening, I went ahead and cashed out vacation for those extra days. Cashed out my vacation, and it kept me right on track. So I still hit my $2,000 for the month of January, which puts us at $6,000. So the account's building up pretty quick. We're already at $6,000. Whether or not after all that I still make the $2,000 for February, I think I can. But between February and March, like, we might have some issues. There might be $1,000 that I don't make it in there over the next couple of months. But either way, that'll put us at $9,000 by the end of March. I'm hoping to hit 10, but I think we're going to at least hit 9. And I call that pretty good. So, what else? So, my sister contacted me recently, and my niece is starting to think about selling her car. She's got a little Chevy Sonic. It's got like 120,000 miles on it, and it's ones that have had it, they've had the same person do all the maintenance on it, and she said they'd sell it to me for my kid for $2,500 or something, you know, when she's actually ready to sell it. And my kid, she's been saying she doesn't really want to drive, and she's been kind of changing her mind on that recently. She's about to turn 20, and I contacted her and I was like, look, you know, your Aunt Liz and Emily are thinking about, they might sell us this car for a good price. So if you show me something, if you decide you want to get your driver's license and you show me something and make some progress toward it, I'll buy you this car. So there's a possibility that I might do that out of my savings, and that might set me back on my timeline a little bit. But that's just part of life, you know what I mean? I got to take care of my kid and make sure that she's got something reliable and nice if she decides she wants to drive. She's already done driver's ed and all that. Well, I say all that. She's done driver's ed. But it was during the pandemic, and there was a lot of issues with trying to get in there to get the permit and all that stuff. And so she ended up never getting her permit. So it's a bunch of bullshit, but we'll see what happens. That could set me back a little bit. If it comes to pass, I will buy it out of the savings, and I'll just have to make it up. So another thing is, so I normally look on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace pretty regularly. I apologize for the lighting. It's morning time and winter, so the sun's low in the sky. But it's always a lot cheaper on Facebook Marketplace when I'm looking in there. And I do sometimes look and see what's available in the RVs on Craigslist. But for some reason, it struck me a few days ago, maybe so I should check out the RVs on Facebook Marketplace. So I went to do that. And man, there's some killer deals on there, guys. You know, like, I was seeing like between $8,000 and $15,000 for motorhomes, like a little van with a camper on the back of it type of motorhomes. And as much as I think that a van is the thing to do to be able to like park in cities and stuff like that, I gotta be straight with you. I'm not a young man, or at least my body is not young, because of all the hard jobs that I've done, and sure would be nice to be able to stand up in whatever I get. Maybe just have a little more room and be able to stand up. So there's a possibility that if some of these deals exist when I'm ready, I might buy one of those instead of just a van and building it out. Because like there was a Winnebago one on there that's like new condition, 37,000 miles on it, so really low miles. And they wanted 13 grand for it. And guys, that's less than I was going to spend to buy an old van and put an engine in it, and it's way less than I could get a ProMaster or something like that for. So, you know, my thoughts are always evolving as to what's going to be the most cost-effective, appropriate way to do this, and it's possible that when the time comes, if deals like that one exist, and there was a couple other ones too that were like low miles, like 20,000 miles, 40,000 miles on a 1991 and stuff like that. Because a lot of times people will buy those things and then they'll just sit on them and not really hardly use them, you know. And so I'm starting to have this thought process that might be another route that might actually get me into something even cheaper. Now, the problem with that is that if I was to do that, then I would have to keep the truck that I have currently, because when I go back on the road, I would have to store that somewhere, whether it's at my parents' place out in East Texas, or actually paid it for some place to store it, because I can't park it at our yard. So that's one issue with it, is that there's not a space big enough for me to park that at our yard like I park my personal vehicle. But other than that, and the fact that it's going to be a little bit more difficult to find places to park it, I'm thinking thinking about it. I'm considering it. So just keep that in mind. Still be putting solar on it and all that stuff if I do that, and probably changing out a lot of the appliances inside to make them electric instead of gas. And you know, there would still be a lot of work to be done on it. I'm not just going to plug it in all the time, and that air conditioning that they put on those just sucks the electricity, so that wouldn't work. And I'm not gonna like run propane all the time and stuff. So there would still be a lot of stuff to be done to it. But ultimately, if I can get something with really low miles on it for cheaper than what I can get a van for, and be able to stand up in it, and it already have a bed and couches and a kind of a layout in it to start with, like that could be the way to go. So anyway, I just wanted to update you on what I'm thinking, what I've been doing. I apologize again for the light conditions, but it is what it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you're just finding this channel, hit that subscribe button, because we're on our way. We're getting there. The savings are building up, and you know what? 3, 4, 5 months, we'll have enough to at least get something and get started on it. So stay tuned. Stick with me. Thanks for watching.